Backstage Magazine recommended her as one of the top 10 people to watch. So please, give it up for Jenn Palumbo, everybody.
Hello. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. I hope my outfit is acceptable to you, the audience. I'm trying to look my best. What can I say? I'm trying to lose weight, and that's sucking ass, actually, going quite bad. I was at the gym, and you know they have TVs everywhere? I'm on the bike, and I realize I'm like just watching The Simpsons. I'm watching The Simpsons. 20 minutes go by, and I'm not actually pedaling. I'm just sitting there watching The Simpsons. I'm like, why can't I lose weight? I've been watching TV all day. It's the strangest thing. But let me introduce myself to you. I'm sorry. My name is Jennifer. It's a very unique, rare, and exotic name. Thank you. Last name Palumbo, which is Italian for pigeon. Yes, thank you. My dad likes to tell people it means warrior eagle. But he's full of crap. Kind of like a pigeon, so that works out well. I'm Catholic. I'm not a strict Catholic, though. I believe Jesus walked on water. I'm just convinced it was winter at the time. You're all going to get that on the way home, this section here. I am, let's see, in review, Italian, Catholic, single. I got married a couple of months ago, let me be honest. Yeah, I know, it's hard to admit as a comic that you actually are happily married. It's terrible. But being Italian, Catholic, and single was just death. Let me just make that clear. Because your life is a series of weddings, christenings, and funerals. And there was this period where there were just all these weddings. And I had this one Aunt Jeanette. Every single wedding was like, when are you going to be next, huh? When am I going to see you in that white dress? When are you going to be next? So I started asking her the same thing at funerals. When are you going to be next, old woman? When am I going to see you in that box? I know, it's lovely. It's terrible. What can I do? And then being single in your 30s in Manhattan is like being at the clearance rack at Target. Really? Because everyone's like marked down and irregular. Do you know what I'm talking about? But I did get married to another comic, which, you know, we don't have any money, but we have a sense of humor about it. People love, too, that I married another comic. I don't know what they're expecting. It's like after we have sex, he's like, you know, that's my time. Thank you so much. Good night. And an Italian wedding is really a sight to behold. I don't know if any of you have been there. There's like tons of people, and there are relatives that you don't, like you've never met in your entire life, like you don't know them. And there's never a clear lineage. Do you know what I'm saying? They're like, oh, this is your Aunt Rosemary. And I'm like, okay, how is she related to me? And she's like, well, she was the maid of honor at your cousin Nancy's wedding, but they're not talking anymore because she wasn't made the godmother of the blah, 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 blah. It's the craziest thing. This whole night at the wedding, I was calling this guy Uncle Vinny. It turns out it was the busboy. It was very embarrassing. I did grow up mainly in a Jewish community, so all my friends and neighbors were Jewish, and my Italian grandmother would always ask me if I had any Jewish friends that were Orthodox. D-O-T-S, Orthodox, which sounds so funny to me. It doesn't sound like it's a board game. Orthodox by Parker Brothers. The playing pieces would be different colored yarmulkes. The spaces would say, have bris, move ahead 3. Eat pork, go back 2. Everyone would be the banker. If you married a doctor, you won. It all works out very well. Are there actually single people here by applause? Okay, married people by applause? I can't figure out which group sounds more miserable. You look like you had to consult each other. Are we married? Should we applaud? He didn't clap. This is what I'm talking about you married people. Because, again, I was single forever. And then when I got married, I started asking everyone for advice because I really want to do a good job. But married people, you never say you're happy. It just doesn't happen. If you ask a married person, are you happy? They answer like they're in AA. They're like, well, you take it one day at a time. Just take each day as it comes. It's horrible. And then my parents have been married for 42 years, and I asked my mom what she thought made a successful marriage, and she's like, well, your father doesn't try to run my life, and he doesn't try to run his own life either. Which just sounds so absolutely depressing. It's terrible. But I don't know. I'm trying very hard to be a good wife. I didn't realize there was so much training involved. You talk to married women, they all seem like they're training their dogs. They're like, well, we've got Bob to bring the dishes to the sink, but now we just need to get him to bring it to the dishwasher. It's this whole process. Women always love that joke. They're like, oh my God, I know. But it sounds so much like, your uncle finally made on the paper. We're so excited. You men are all broken down. Is that what it is? It's terrible. I had no idea. And then do you ever read like these horrible breakup stories that like forever haunt you? I read this one in Cosmopolitan. This woman wrote in that her soon-to-be ex-husband one day appeared on her front porch and in front of the entire neighborhood accused her of sleeping around and being pregnant with another man's baby. Okay? She became so enraged at this accusation that again, in front of the entire neighborhood, she pulled down her pants, ripped out her tampon, and threw it at him. I was horrified. I could never get my tampon out that quickly. Ladies, they're like, leave me out of this. Men hate tampons, right? I don't know why. It's plastic and cotton, men. They can't hurt you. And it's so funny because like men will fight in wars, kill bugs, clean their ears with their keys for whatever reason. Yet you show them a tampon wrapped and unused, and it's like a live grenade. I used to do this thing when I was single. When I would meet a man, I would throw a tampon at him. If he caught it, he was a keeper. If he swatted it down to the ground, I'd kick him to the curb. And now you know why I was single for so very, very long. It all makes sense now, doesn't it? Oh, I'm telling you, it's not easy. It's not easy. Especially, I think Italians have it tough. I mean, Italians and Jews have a lot in common. The Italians are like the happy Jews, I think. That's like my personal feeling. But Italians are very curvy, don't you think? And I love my girls. I do. I call them the Olsen twins. This is Mary Kate. She's a little smaller. One person applauded me for the Olsen twins. I would think my rack would get a little bit more applause than that, but that's fine. And I was mentioning earlier, I would love to lose weight, but I think people go a little bit too far with it. Like, they want to be like rail thin, like about like the microphone here. I have a friend who had a living will made up that should she get into a car accident and become a vegetable, she's not to be unplugged until she's a size 2. She'll be dead, but she'll look fantastic. Women never laugh at that joke. And I'll tell you why. Because they think it's a good idea. Am I right? Any questions so far? Have we shared? We talked about Jesus. We talked about tampons. I think we've run the gamut. Any of you go to Catholic school? By applause? Most of the Catholic schools raised their hand. I have to tell you, Catholic school was not a treat for me. Remember they made you confess at age 7? And at age 7, what the hell have you done, right? So we had learned the commandments the week before, so I just sort of randomly picked one, and I went in again at age 7 and confessed to committing adultery. I figured committing adultery is like when you pretend to be an adult, and I'm like, well, shit, I've played house. I've committed adultery. And unfortunately, the priest did not have such a sense of humor about this. For my penance, he made me say 3 Hail Marys, 2 Our Fathers, and wear a red letter A on my uniform for the next several years. And this warped me worse than you could possibly imagine, because for years I would watch Laverne and Shirley just trying to figure out which sin Laverne committed. Yes, the people who got that joke are very intelligent. They're intelligent and they watch crap 70s TV. And you, my friends, are my people. Well, listen, if you happen to see me on the way out, and I hope you all do, please give me your name and address so I can send you all thank you cards. You've been absolutely lovely. Thank you so much. Take care. Good night.
Keep it going for Jenn Palumbo, everybody. A large round of applause for Jenn Palumbo.